Today we're going to troubleshoot a 2001 Eddie Bauer Ford Expedition for poor radio reception. The tools needed are going to be the Ford DIN removal tools. We're also going to need a small pry bar. We need our crimp tool along with a barrel crimp connector. We need a set of wire strippers, and we have the luxury of using a spare antenna for removing the stereo and plugging this in for testing the reception. Today we have a 2001 Ford Expedition with poor radio reception we're going to troubleshoot. First of all, we're going to remove the stereo from the dash with a small pry tool. We're going to get up under the dash here and pry the panel off. We're going to work around the top of the panel here, releasing the panel. We're going to work across the top of the panel, releasing clips, along the side, releasing the bottom clips. The panel will remove. We can lay this right down to the dash. Usually the Ford DIN removal tools don't work exactly like they're supposed to on this radio because there's little edges on the radio that won't allow it to pass through the opening on the dash. Now we're going to use the Ford DIN removal tools. If you haven't figured out how these DIN removal tools work, we do have another video dealing with removing Ford stereos that show these steps as well. Now with the stereo removed, to remove the stereo, you remove the antenna, and the connectors all have little triggers on them, all three here in this vehicle, to remove the stereo. We're troubleshooting a poor reception problem on this vehicle. We have the luxury on troubleshooting on this one of having a second antenna. So we're going to disconnect the existing antenna that's on the back of the radio and plug our secondary antenna in for testing purposes. Now we've already been through these steps and we have determined that the antenna is bad. We've seen several problems with antenna reception, specifically on Ford. This particular Ford Expedition does not have the front fender mount or the front top mount antenna, although we have seen problems with wiring to this antenna inside the hood compartment along the side. This is the Eddie Bauer edition, so we did find that the antenna is in the rear side window. We've opened the window, partially opened the window up, and determined that the connections for the antenna are right up here on the top edge of the window. We've grasped this little wire that goes to the antenna and recognized that the antenna is broken. Now we're going to have to pull the edge of this back a little bit and pull the antenna connection out of the vehicle. Now up behind the panel we did pull the antenna connection off, which this is supposed to go right on the end of the antenna here, but obviously the connector is broken off inside or right at the edge. Now we have removed from this white connector the end of the connector that is broken. We've ran to Radio Shack and picked up another connector and added a little bit of wire to it here, so that this connector will now slide into the base, connect with the antenna that is up in the roof here. Now we are going to splice these two wires together. Okay, we have stripped our wire back and put our crimp connector on it, and we're going to do the same for the remaining wire that is up in the top of the window. And we are going to cut the end off of this here and crimp this crimp in and extend the wire with the one we've put together from Radio Shack, and then connect it back in and check reception. Now we have crimped our wire back together to give us our end so that we can mate up to the antenna that's up back underneath the edge of the top panel here. The best I could figure out was because of the window being open and closed and a little bit of moisture, possibly rain, has deteriorated the connection, and that's why it's broken. Now we have connected our antenna back up underneath the edge of the top panel here along the roof, and we're just going to tuck our wire away. Now with the antenna hooked back up, we're seeking and we're locking onto every AM station which makes this a good fix.